Hi, I'm Angela Purcell, and I'm the full-time interpreter here at the Museum of York County. Today's Wild Wonder is all about poop, or as it's called in polite circles, scat. So why in the world would I want to be talking about poop here at the museum? Well, scat, as scientists call it, is actually very important, and scientists can learn a lot from an animal's scat. First, a lot of animals are nocturnal, so we really don't know if they're around except by what they might leave behind, such as tracks and scat. Studying scat can tell scientists the health of the animal, what type of animal was there, and what they've been eating. They can also extract DNA from the scat and learn even more about certain animals. River otter scat is actually really good for collecting DNA because the white that you see in the scat is actually part of the stomach lining. So the stomach lining can give us a lot of information when we test for DNA. This is one that you might already be familiar with. This is deer scat. And if you live out in the country or close to woods, you might find this in your backyard. This is gray fox scat. And gray fox scat can tell you what time of year or what the animal is eating very easily, because when fruits and vegetables and things like that aren't available, the gray fox mostly has an all-meat diet. So we can tell by looking at this that the gray fox was eating mostly meat, like rodents and things like that. Think about what might happen, especially if you have a toddler or a little baby brother or sister at home and you give them a lot of fruit, it would be a lot more runny. So we can kind of tell that what the fox is eating just by looking at the consistency of the scat. Possum scat is tiny and tubular, scientists would say. Also, if it has a white or yellow coloring to the top of it, that is actually a mold. And here is rabbit scat. And rabbit is probably something you'd come across in your yard. We have lots of rabbits around, and they'll live in the city, they'll live in urban areas, suburban areas, and rural areas. So we can actually find a lot of rabbit scat. Now, scat will also fossilize sometimes. It's harder to find fossilized scat because most scat is either broken down by bacteria, decomposed by decomposers, and turned into soil. So it's very rare to find coprolite, scientists would call fossilized scat. But they can tell a lot about an animal that lived a long time ago by studying the fossilized scat, if they can find it. They'll cut a piece of it and put that small thin piece that they cut under a microscope. And sometimes they'll be able to see seeds or bones, sometimes some plant matter of whatever it was the animal had eaten. And then they may not be able to identify the animal exactly as to whose scat this is, but they can at least make some educated assumptions and also just know, well, whatever left this behind was a carnivore, an omnivore, or an herbivore. Until next time, enjoy your Carolina world.